Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 15th of November and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. First is decommissioned Hawk missiles. Now, Taiwan has decided to decommission the age-old Hawk missiles and the question has arisen whether these missiles will go to Ukraine for Ukraine to use it. Well, these missiles were commissioned by USA in Taiwan, and Taiwan is now saying that it is USA who has to decide whether they will go to USA or they will go to Ukraine or wherever they will go. So let me tell you that these Hawk missiles are anti-missile missiles which can intercept incoming aerial targets at a lower altitude. And these aerial targets should be large in size. So that is the scenario. Second is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. The Government of India has outlined 17 reasons why to cancel the registration of NGOs receiving foreign contributions. Cancellation of registration of NGOs receiving foreign contributions. Why it is so? So, what if these foreign contributions are being used for some anti-national activities? What if these foreign contributions are being used for disrupting development activities over here in the country? So for that purpose, this act was passed. This act was passed in 1976, has been amended in 1984, 2010 and 2020 and has been made stringent for the NGOs receiving foreign fundings in India. And the last is long range land attack cruise missile. DRDO has tested this missile, and this is the maiden test for this. This testing has been successful and will be aiding in India's defense capabilities, and definitely this kind of missile was much needed for the country. Now we deal with all these three topics, and after that the MCQs, and after that we will be discussing the answers of MCQs of yesterday. The first, that is decommissioned Hawk missiles. So Hawk missiles were commissioned by USA in Taiwan, and the defense minister of Taiwan, Wellington Koo, has recently said that it is up to the United States to decide the future of Taiwan's decommissioned Hawk anti-aircraft missiles. The statement comes in response to a question about whether Taiwan might send these older missiles to Ukraine to aid in its defense against Russia, or whatever it wants to do. It is up to USA. This is what Taiwanese are saying. Hawk missiles. These Hawk missiles were developed in the 1960s by the USA, and it has been supplied to many countries in the world, especially Western European countries and all. So we have these countries like Denmark, Netherlands, Norway, where these missiles have been supplied, and these countries have upgraded these missiles also with time. This is a very important defense mechanism. It is considered in the Western world. The system is capable of intercepting targets flying at low altitudes as low as 60 meters, making it effective against slow-moving drones or missiles as well. US military phased out the Hawk system in favor of more advanced defense systems, but it remains in service with several other countries, including Taiwan. So the use in Ukraine of this, although this Hawk is considered less advanced than the newer missile defense system technologies, system has been adapted to counter specific threats in Ukraine, particularly the drone attacks on Ukraine. That is why this question is arising whether these will go to Ukraine or not. So again, Taiwan is saying that it is up to the USA to decide whether it will go to Ukraine or not. Ukraine has been facing heavy barrage of one-way attack from drones, and these are drones obviously coming from Russia. Taiwan's growing defense relations with USA. So this recent $2 billion NASAMS deal highlights the deepening defense ties between Taiwan and the United States as Taiwan seeks to strengthen its ability to defend itself against China. NASAMS is a medium-range air defense system that has already been proven in battle in Ukraine. The USA's support for Taiwan's defense is part of its broad strategy, and for against this Chinese aggression, because Taiwan is also at the same point where Ukraine is when we compare China's aggression against Taiwan or Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Now, implications for the world. So this missile support to Ukraine This potential transfer of Taiwan's decommissioned Hawk missiles to Ukraine would add the growing number of military supplies from Western nations and their allies to Ukraine. It would also demonstrate how countries with outdated or surplus military equipment can contribute to Ukraine's defense without directly sending new weapons. But the question is that will these outdated weapons work against the new technology weapons used by Russia in this war? So that is basically the big question. The Taiwan's defense in context of China. Taiwan's ongoing military upgrades such as NASAM systems are crucial as they ensure Taiwan's self-defense capabilities in the face of potential Chinese invasion on them. Situation also brings attention to the broader geopolitical rivalry between China and the United States. Now, since United States is helping a rival of China, and United States is always, very much apprehensive about China's rise. So here, NASAM system, which is being developed, which has replaced this, Hawk missile systems and all. Obviously, it has upgraded Taiwan's defense capabilities. So that is also, coming into picture, the USA-China angle. Next is the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Now, this particular law is basically regulating the flow of foreign funding to the NGOs in India. Now, foreign funding coming to India is good. But what if this foreign funding coming to India is for, I would say, negative purposes, like foreign powers, they fund some NGOs and they do all the negative kind of works over here. Like, for example, they disrupt development. For example, Kudankulam nuclear power plant, when it was awarded to Russian agencies for, constructing it and all, this contract was awarded to Russia. Uh, it is believed that USA and France, which were also contenders in this Kudankulam nuclear power plant, funded various NGOs here in India, and they caused delay in that development of, Kudankulam nuclear power plant. So, what if these NGOs are receiving funding and they are diverting these funds to those terrorist activities? Like, for example, there are many NGOs in India who are receiving funds from China, and these funds are being given to the Naxals over here in India. So in that case, we need to check. It means the government needs to check, and for that purpose, this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act was passed. This was passed during emergency era, 1976, and it has undergone various amendments, and it has been made stringent now. So why it is in use? Basically, Ministry of Home Affairs, which is the nodal agency for implementing this law, issued a notice listing 17 reasons that may be used by the government under FCRA to deny or cancel registrations of various NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Okay, so these 17 reasons, what are they? We will see. So these reasons mainly address concerns about national security, social harmony, misuse of foreign funds in India, and things like these. Okay. So let us see what it is. First of all, this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act was enacted in the year 1976 during the emergency period to regulate the flow of foreign contributions into India. Its primary purpose is to ensure that foreign donations to Indian NGOs do not adversely affect national interests, sovereignty, internal security, development, etc., etc. Key objectives is to regulate the acceptance and utilization of foreign funds by NGOs, to ensure that foreign funds do not negatively impact India's sovereignty, democratic values, or internal security. Note, no foreign contributions from NRIs. NRIs are those people who are holding Indian passports but not residing in India. If any, foreign fund is coming from them, then it will not be counted as a foreign contribution. First, transparency and monitoring. NGOs are required to disclose the full details of foreign donations and how the funds are used to ensure transparency. These, things have been incorporated in the various amendments of this particular law, which has happened over time. So to understand these amendments clearly, let's go through the timeline. 1976, the law was introduced. It was introduced during the emergency era by the Indira Gandhi government. That was also a very difficult time for India, and multiple people were out on the streets. And the Indira Gandhi government felt that bhai, some foreign forces may be involved in this. So this law was passed, and here the non-profits were allowed to freely receive foreign donations while reporting the amount spent and received every year to the government. 1984, an amendment was made in it. It was mandatory for non-profits to register before receiving foreign donations. So it was mandatory for the NGOs and all our non-profits to register themselves with the government that we are going to receive foreign fundings. If the government gave them registrations, then only they became eligible for receiving foreign funds or foreign contributions, and their registration was lifetime, means once they had to register and they were there for lifetime. Then in 2010, the 1976 Act was repealed and replaced by a stricter Foreign Control Regulation Act in 2010, along with Foreign Contribution Regulation rules. So key changes introduced were FCRA registration validity. Validity was earlier unlimited time, now it was 5 years only. After 5 years, you have to review and you have to renew your registration. So it was there. Only 50% of foreign contributions could be used for administrative expenses. It is not like you could use unlimited amount for administrative expenses. You could show it because under the wheel of these administrative expenses, these funds are diverted a lot. So it is like this. Then 2020 FCRA Amendment Bill 2020 broadly redefined terms related to acceptance, transfer and utilization of foreign contributions under 2010 Act. Let's see what were the amendments in 2020. Aadhaar was made mandatory for key functionaries of NGOs. Designated bank account. This bank account is there in the State Bank of India, and State Bank of India, the Connaught Place branch. Only in that branch you should open a bank account in which you will be receiving foreign funds, and you know you have to utilize the funds from that bank account only. Domestic transfer was banned, prohibited NGOs from transferring foreign funds to other domestic entities. You could not transfer it even if that entity was registered for receiving FCRA. So once your entity has received FCRA, your entity will be using your entity has received foreign funds, so your entity only will be using or utilizing those foreign funds. Administrative expense limit. Reduce the cap on administrative expense limit from 50%, which was there in 2010, to 20% of foreign funds received. So you can spend only 20% of the amount received for administrative expenses. Who needs FCRA registration? So any organization, association or NGO wishing to receive foreign donations must be registered under FCRA, and this registration is valid for 5 years. Validity and renewal. FCRA registration is valid for 5 years and can be renewed if the organization complies with FCRA norms. Permissible uses of foreign contributions. Foreign funds can only be used for activities that serve social, educational, cultural or economic purposes and contribute positively to the nation. Monitoring authority is Ministry of Home Affairs, because it is a matter of internal security. The Ministry of Home Affairs will be undertaking this authority over it. Key developments in FCRA implementation. In 2015, NGOs were required to maintain their bank accounts with core banking facilities for better monitoring. In 2023, an amendment mandated that NGOs disclose assets created with foreign funds in their annual returns. So now the 17 reasons for denying FCRA registration. So Ministry of Home Affairs has said कि भाई it will be denying registration to the NGOs who come for re-registration or for registration for the first time if the government has found out that the funds are being used for anti-India activities, anti-developmental activities, such like. So what are the reasons? First, anti-development activities. If the funds are being used for, like I gave you the example of Kudankulam nuclear power plant, funds being used over there. Inciting malicious protests, like in farmer protest time, various NGOs were active and it was believed that they were receiving foreign funds. Religious conversion activities, multiple Christian missionaries and all, they indulge into such kind of activities. So they are running NGOs and all. So if funds are being used for this purpose, then that is going to be a problem. Links with terrorists or anti-national organizations. So like Naxals and all, I gave you that example of NGOs funding the Naxal activities. Misuse of foreign funds, diversion of funds for activities threatening the national security of the country or public order. Personal gain by office bearers of those NGOs. Defunct or non-operational NGOs, but they are only operational for receiving foreign funds and misusing those foreign funds. Failure to submit annual returns by that NGO. So that is something which should not be there. Non-compliance with NGOs objectives. So of whatever the objectives of NGOs are, you are not complying with that. You are not following the norms, like you're not submitting the returns and all. So this is there. Adverse field inquiry reports. So this field inquiry reports and all should be okay. It should not be adverse. And prosecution, any prosecution is pending against that NGO, then also that will be a reason for not granting license. Lack of transparency is there in any of these procedures which have to be adopted, but they are not adopted. Non-cooperation with investigations. If investigation the government wants to ask anything and all, if you are not cooperating, then failure to maintain accountability, lack of proper financial records, or failure to submit audit reports or foreign funds. Then false representation of activities. This should not be there. Radical organizational links. These should not be there. And involvement in anti-national activities. Direct involvement in activities that undermine India's sovereignty or security should not be there. So these are the 17 reasons which the government has highlighted for not granting licenses to these NGOs under FCRA. So consequences of FCRA cancellation: prohibition from re-registration. So they will be prohibited from re-registering themselves if they were already registered. Suspension: the government can suspend an NGO's registration for up to 180 days while investigations are ongoing, and financial assets can be frozen. And NGOs can appeal the cancellation of their FCRA registration in the High Court. So this is what can be the further consequences. And it is definitely important that these contributions and all should be legitimate. It should be I would say not anti-India. NGOs are after all there to serve the country. The next is long range land attack cruise missile. So DRDO has conducted its maiden test flight of this particular long range land attack cruise missile, and it has been done from Chandipur, integrated test range Chandipur in Odisha. The missile was launched from a mobile articulated launcher at the integrated test range in Odisha. The flight test was observed by senior DRDO officials and representatives from the Indian Armed Forces like Army, Navy, Air Force, and all. Performance assessment: the missile successfully followed a pre-programmed flight path and used waypoint navigation to demonstrate its precision, means it was a successful attack. It exhibited advanced maneuverability by executing complex flight maneuvers while adjusting to different speeds and altitudes. And all subsystems of the missile performed as expected, meeting primary mission objectives. Monitoring and tracking: missile's flight was closely monitored by various range sensors, including radar, electro-optical tracking systems, and telemetry deployed at multiple locations across the test range. These sensors ensured comprehensive tracking of the missile throughout its flight path. Advanced capabilities: the missile demonstrated its ability to execute high precision, long range strikes, which is crucial for tactical and strategic operations. It is equipped with state of the art avionics and software that enhances its operational reliability and performance. About this long range land attack cruise missiles, it was developed by DRDO's Aeronautical Development Establishment located in Bengaluru, with collaboration from DRDO laboratories and Indian industries, which are the industries we will see. It is part of India's broader push towards developing indigenous defense technologies, and we are becoming Atmanirbhar in defense technologies. That is a great thing. Operational flexibility: LRLACM is designed to launch from mobile ground-based systems and as frontline ships, and its versatility allows it to be deployed across various platforms. The missile uses a universal vertical launch module, which makes it adaptable for a wide range of military assets. Development partners: Bharat Dynamics Limited and Bharat Electronic Limited. These are basically development cum production partners. Strategic importance: long range precision strikes, and it is seen as a critical tool for enhancing India's strike capabilities in both defensive and offensive operations. It can, uh, it can be seen as a significant achievement in context of India's defense, self-reliance, and technological capabilities. Future prospects: next generation cruise missiles. So this LRLACM is expected to pave the way for development of even more advanced cruise missiles that can cover longer ranges with greater accuracy. DRDO's future will likely include enhancing this missile range and all. The impact of on defense procurement: the success of this missile marks an important shift in India's defense procurement strategy, and emphasis is on indigenous development. So it is indigenously developed. That is the remarkable feature of this particular missile. Now coming on to the MCQs. First is consider the following statements and mark the correct ones. First, the Hawk missile system was developed in the 1960s by USA. Hawk missile system is capable of intercepting aerial targets at low altitude. Which of these statements are correct? Second, Consider the following statements and mark how many of them are correct. FCRA was passed during the emergency era to restrict foreign funding to NGOs. FCRA amendment of 2010 reduced the validity of registration for permanent earlier to 5 years now. And FCRA amendment of 2020 made Aadhaar mandatory for key functionaries. How many of these statements are correct? You have to find out that. Third, consider the following statements with respect to NGOs receiving foreign funds and mark the correct one. Foreign funds can only be used for activities that serve social, educational, cultural, or economic purposes. Second, NRIs donating funds will not be counted as foreign contributions. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Fourth, which of the following statements are correct about long-range land attack cruise missile? First, India has tested its maiden flight in November 2024. Second, the flight test took place from integrated test range in Odisha. Third, Bharat Dynamics Limited and Bharat Electronics Limited served as development cum production partners. So, you need to identify the correct combination over here. The answers to MCQs of yesterday. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Aligarh Muslim University is established by a statute. Yes, it was passed in the year 1920. So this statement is correct. The Aziz Basha case gave the status of minority institute to AMU. Actually, it is the other way. It took away the status of minority institute from AMU, sorry. So this is wrong. So only one is going to be the correct answer, A. Second question, which of the following was the reason cited in the Aziz Basha case for AMU not being declared as a minority institution? First, AMU was offering reservation to SC/ST, which it should not be doing. No, this was not the reason. It was established before the constitution was adopted. It is a fact, but it was not the reason. It was established by a law. This was the reason in the Aziz Basha case, which took away the, I would say, constitutional this minority institution status. So C is going to be the correct answer. Third, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Minority institutions can be regulated by the state. Yes, they are regulated by the state. Minority institutions can offer religious education. Yes, they can, plus secular education. Both they can offer. So both the statements are correct over here. C is going to be the correct answer. Fourth, which of these organizations did not participate in Antariksh Abhyas? Defense Cyber Agency did. Armed Forces, Indian Army, Navy, Air Force did. Defense Intelligence Agency did. Central Armed Police Forces did not. So there are 7 Central Armed Police Forces like BSF, CRPF, CISF, NSG, then SSB, Sashastra Seema Bal, Assam Rifles, and we have ITBP, that is Indo-Tibetan Border Police. None of them participated, so D is going to be the correct answer for this question. The fifth question and the last one, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Antariksh Abhyas is the first ever space exercise conducted by India. Yes. Antariksh Abhyas aims to secure India's defense assets. Yes. Both these statements are correct and C is going to be the correct answer over here. So with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Namaste. Jai Hind.